I'm going to take a look at this clip. This is a funny clip, particularly the way that it's done. But I think it brings up the idea of habits, because I hear these words a lot, albeit not quite like this.
Sprint honors Lizzie and Kim's call on our new network.
Ryan is a total hottie McHotterson.
RV, he's amazeballs. He's like the hottest hottie that ever hottied.
He's like a hottie times infinity plus another infinity, and his smile is totes adorbs.
Totes my goats. It's cray adorbs.
Totes my goats.
Oh, wow.
The voice of Darth Vader saying totes my goats. Who'd have thunk?
Totes my goats.
But now, so would you think about it though in terms of habits? Because when I saw that commercial, I thought, okay, this is good stuff, because our words, if nothing else, show our habits.
Sure.
And so, to tie that last segment with this segment, OMG becomes a habit.
Yeah.
Right? And I will hear people that I know are Christians and take their faith seriously say, oh my God, about really, really trivial stuff. And I think, that one grinds me a little bit, because I thought if we're flippant with that, we're treading on dangerous ground here. So how should a junior high aged kid take their words seriously? That clip was so over the top. And if you're an adult that says totes adorbs, you should probably be
guilty.
Yeah. In the future, over the age of 30. Yeah. But how old are you?
Not 30.
Sweet. Okay. But how should a junior high kid take their words seriously?
Yeah, I think there's a difference between like a casual conversation with a friend or texting as opposed to speaking to an adult or in class. And I think what's important is understanding your context and understanding where you're at and understanding your audience. Because if you can think about the way that you speak to your parents as opposed to the way that you speak to your friends. Obviously, no matter who you are, Christian or non-Christian, you're going to speak differently to different groups of friends, different groups of people, that is. Mm-hmm. But I think understanding where you're at, your context, and then understanding what's appropriate and what's needed. And so, but like you said, I think the danger could be building habits that you are unable to distinguish with where you're at.
Now, here's a nasty habit that nobody sets out to develop, but turns into easily. Humor.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rip somebody and then say JK. I was just kidding.
Yeah.
And we do that with words. We do it with sarcasm. We do it with jokes. When we're around certain types of people that we know they're not going to appreciate that style of humor, yeah, I'll keep it down. But for others, it's okay.
Yeah.
How do you avoid the habit of being two-faced with your words?
Sure. I think we're all guilty of this, of saying something really mean, but then at the same time adding just kidding at the end of it to almost cover up what you said. I think just being really intentional with, even if you say, I'm just kidding, the weight of what you said is already there. And even if I were to say, oh, I'm just, you're ugly, oh, I'm just kidding, the weight of what you said is still there. And so I think just being really intentional with what you say, understanding that even if you say you're just kidding, what you said is still there.
What makes something legitimately funny? Like what's a view of humor? And I don't mean it even as much stylistically, but how should junior high kids think about their humor? Because junior high kids they'll say a lot of things, and they'll either fall back on either just kidding or my friends, we all talk that way, we're friends, they know I'm joking.
Yeah.
What makes something
I think
actually funny?
There are a lot of things that can be considered funny, but I would say what wouldn't be considered funny, in my opinion, would be something that comes at the expense of somebody else. Or in other words, if you're laughing at somebody, the old expression, are they laughing at you or with you? If you are legitimately laughing at somebody and making fun of somebody, and the humor comes at the expense of somebody else and putting them down, I would say that shouldn't be considered funny, because it comes at the price of somebody else. And so I think if you are laughing at something that's genuinely funny, you find humorous. I think anything could be. You can find humor in anything.
So let's go to some questions here. Is it okay to swear if you're just portraying someone else's character?
You mean like quoting a movie or something?
Yeah.
That's a really good question. I guess the standard could be, which it may not be, but would you be comfortable saying that in front of your parents? And I know that you could say that for almost anything, but if you're quoting a movie and you are able to disguise it and say, well, it's just in that movie, would you be comfortable saying that if it was you, or would you be comfortable saying that if it was in front of your parents? And I think if the answer is no, then it shouldn't be appropriate.
Is someone a bad person because they swear?
I would say a tentative no, only because I don't think you could label somebody, quote, a bad person just because of a few careless words. But I would say on the opposite side, the Bible does say, as you mentioned, that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So I think that words reveal character, but I don't think words can say to a person, well, now you're bad and that you can't be good, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Why is OMG bad if it could mean, oh my gosh?
Well, I mean, Mike, what do you think? Flip the question back on you.
I think you have to be, that certainly could be the case. Most of the time, that's not what people mean. And I think as Christians, we're called to be clear in how we talk. Our language and our words should be clear. One of the reasons why I showed the mom texts is because, again, you had people who thought they were being really clear. I meant this, and put it out there. Some things probably shouldn't be expressed over social media. Some things should be fully spelled out, right? VD stands for Valentine's Day for that mom, right? Valentine's Day is probably worth writing out. All right, if you want to say, oh my gosh, then say, oh my gosh. But as Christians, we're called to be as clear as possible because we represent Christ, we represent what's true and right. And our language, in as much as we can control, because we're all sinful, we're all broken, our language should reflect that. And so I think when we communicate, however the format, however the platform, to leave people with very little doubt or question about what we mean or why we are saying it.
It's good. It's a good way to put it.
In terms of swearing or language, whether it's oh my God or something else, what if your parents think it's okay?
Okay, that's a great question. I think that ultimately, especially at this age, now is the time to start forming your own convictions or forming what you believe that God's telling you is right and wrong, based on your conscience and based on what you feel like God's revealing to you through His Word and other means. And so obviously there comes a point where you're going to have to make decisions for yourself and live with the consequences. And so for the most part, hopefully your parents are loving and caring and pushing you in the right direction. But if your parents are encouraging you to do something that you know to be wrong, I feel like that would be ultimately on the student to make the decision and to say respectfully, Mom and Dad, I love you. And even though they're okay with that, I feel like God's telling me to do something different.
How do you tell a friend that they swear too much? Like how do you actually bring this up? Because we take our language very personally.
Absolutely. Maybe a group intervention. No, I think you have a problem. No, I mean I think you could do it in a variety of different ways. But I would say, depending on the friendship, I think an honest conversation would help, and maybe even phrasing it in the form of a question of, do you think that you swear too much? Do you think your swearing is a problem? And just see where the conversation goes. But it could be dangerous to just point your finger at your friend and say, hey, you're bad and I'm good. Yeah. Hopefully you make it a conversation and allow the relationship to grow through that.
Just one or two more here. Is it ever okay to swear or put someone down?
No. Is that a trick question?
No.
Oh, I mean, I would just go ahead and say no. I would say that all of us, and again, including myself, are guilty of putting people down. But I would say if it's a black and white question of is it okay to put somebody down, I can't think of any time where that would be okay. There's room for constructive criticism and feedback. And if somebody says, hey, did I do okay here? Or what do you think of this? There's room to give constructive criticism. But I don't think putting down somebody personally in a way that's like demeaning, I don't think that's ever okay.
Yeah, there's a kind of the put down is mocking.
Yeah.
Whereas constructive criticism says, I love you enough to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Here's some way you can
But this
improve.
is something that could be helpful to you.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who's helped by
saying you're
being
an idiot.
made fun of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.